Good afternoon. Go ahead and be seated. Go ahead and be seated, guys. Go ahead and quiet down and be seated. Good afternoon, and welcome, families, friends, and guests, to the John R. Rogers Class of 2017 graduation ceremonies. I am Michael Harp, ASB President. Please stand as the John R. Rogers Air Force Junior ROTC Color Guard, directed by Master Sergeant Lloyd Patton, presents the colors, and the John R. Rogers Pirate Choir, directed by Mr. Tobin Eyestone, sings the national anthem. Please hold your applause throughout the conclusion of the anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of
Thank you. Now, our pirate choir will sing Homeward Bound.
In the quiet, misty morning, when the moon has gone to bed, when the sparrows stop their singing, and the sky is clear and red,
when the summer ceased its gleaming, when the corn is past its prime, when adventure's lost its meaning, I'll be homeward bound in time. Find me not
Amazing job. All right, can I get you guys' attention? I can wait. I'm going to go ahead and ask for everybody's attention. Thank you. On behalf of my classmates, I would like to thank the teachers and instructional assistants that have guided our way. Please stand, teachers and instructional assistants. Give them a round of applause. We would also like to thank the Lunch Bunch for their incredible support these past 4 years. Lunch Bunch, please stand. And finally, we would like to thank our parents, grandparents, and guardians who have stood by us throughout high school. Please stand, parents, grandparents, and guardians.
Good afternoon. I am Kaylana Miller, Senior Class President. At this time, I would like to introduce the valedictorians for the class of 2017. Svetlana Yuryev, Melissa Gray, Kendra Crossley, Simon Mai, Malik Donlik, Konstantin Makrosnov, Lily Makarov, Cheyenne Gillespie, Mackenzie Kammer.
As we stand here today, ready to move on in our lives, we need to take a moment to remember those people that have made it possible for us to be here. The ones that have helped us along the way and have guided our paths. The teachers that go out of their way for their students, that cook us breakfast before our AP exams, that bring out the talents we did not know we had, and support us in and outside of the classroom. I want to say special thanks to Mrs. Miller for the breakfast, and Mr. Venema for always believing in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. We all need to appreciate the sacrifices teachers have made for us and the time and energy they have contributed to our learning. Our lovely principal, Mrs. Wyborny, has been an amazing mentor and supporter. Thank you for your commitment to students and drive for excellence. The parents and guardians that have encouraged and supported us in our journeys, that have listened when things got tough, and have made it possible for us to succeed. I am forever thankful to my parents for all of their sacrifices and the confidence they've given me. Remember the coaches that have inspired us to be better versions of ourselves, that have pushed us and made us stronger, and that have taught us to play with the team. Thank you, Mrs. Rankin, for teaching me what it meant to be a leader, and I appreciate the honesty you always gave me. Remember your amazing friends that made the long school days seem short and gave you reasons to come to school every day. We all thank you and appreciate the dedication that you've shown. But most importantly, we need to value and acknowledge our accomplishments. We need to remember and understand that we are all capable of achieving greatness, whatever that means for each of you. We have stayed strong and believed in ourselves, so congratulations, you made it.
When I was 10, my brother graduated from Rogers towards the top of his class. And as I started freshman year, I was talking with him, and I jokingly said, "I'll be better than you in high school." And of course, he told me I wouldn't, and so we argued about it. And that was the day I decided to dedicate high school to doing everything I could in order to be better than my brother. But then I joined band, and then I joined softball, and then I joined bowling. And then when I had a softball game, a bowling tournament, and a band concert in the same day, I learned that homework might not be the most important thing every day. I started to get into a routine of doing the same thing every day, starting with school and ending with band, bowling, softball, or any combination of the three. But one day, something changed. This year, my uncle died. He was 53, he was young, and it was the first time I had lost anyone close to me. This caused a change in me. I learned that life is short. I started to make the best of everything that I had. I learned that life didn't need to revolve around school, and I started to meet new people and come out of my shell, and I started to have fun. As a result, I learned or my goal in high school changed from being the best to doing the best that I can. And this is what I hope both my fellow classmates and I can take with me as we continue our journey into adulthood.
Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down as far as I could to where it bent in the overgrowth. Which path did the traveler take? For those of you who are unfamiliar with this poem, at the end, the traveler chooses the road he deems less traveled, and that in itself is something profound. But today, I'd like to focus on a different question. Where was the traveler going? A very wise yet insane cat once said, "If you don't know where you're going, any road would lead you there." If the traveler didn't know where he was going, why did the road less traveled make all the difference? About 2 years ago, two roads diverged for me and I had to make a decision. I enrolled in the Running Start program at Eastern Washington University, where I have earned 90 credits, all while maintaining a 4.0 GPA. It was a hard and challenging path I chose, and not one traveled by many. But the path I chose didn't matter because I didn't know where I was going. When I first started at Eastern, I thought I was going to travel down the psychology path. Then psychology changed to social work, and then to English, and now I'm unsure of which path is the right one for me. However, I've learned many things over the past 2 years that will serve me well in the years to come. But there's one thing I would like to share with you. You can plan and organize and prepare for your path, for your field of study, or your future career all you'd like. But before you know where you're going, you have to know who you are. Shakespeare wrote, "This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day." And I sincerely believe his words, because when you know who you truly are, and you are true to yourself, that will make all the difference.
Throughout high school, we learned all sorts of odds and ends. We learned that without Mr. Michael Dewey, Hamlet was impossible to understand. We learned forgettable math terms such as extrapolation, asymptote, and imaginary numbers. We learned how to tick off our teachers by asking them how to save a really bad grade 2 days before the quarter ends. The most important thing all of us learned, though, was the nature of failure. Whether that may be bombing a first semester final, falling out with a friend, or coming close but not close enough to beat that personal record, failure is discouraging, but ultimately unavoidable. While it may sound disappointment in ourselves, it also empowers us to become better. To quote Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel, "It is what you do during those valleys that will determine the heights of your peaks." Bill Gates, for example, did not give up after he dropped out of Harvard and watched his first company fail. Instead, he continued on and made his second company, Microsoft, a major technological success. Failure is where we can achieve something that is beyond ourselves. When we accept failure, we accept that we took risks, we gave our best effort, and we put our pride in jeopardy. It is where we are able to learn the most. It is where we are able to pick ourselves up and make a commitment, not only to ourselves, but to our friends, our families, and other loved ones, that we can move on unobstructed and make our own peaks of success higher than ever before.
The story behind the face that runs this place, and no, I'm not talking about Wyborne, begins with two individuals, my parents. two people that survived a genocide in Bosnia, being forced to witness hundreds of deaths and the destruction of their own country. But that was never used as an excuse, only motivation. Motivation to escape and come to the United States. And this is when the story gets good, because I was born. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but I had to make this somehow about myself. But oh, honey, we have to get back to the story. Going across the world to a foreign country that they probably never even heard of, not knowing the language or even having anything but the clothes on their back with an infant baby by their side. But they worked day and night, nonstop, for a single vision. A vision to provide a better future for themselves and to give my brother and I an opportunity that was taken away from them. And as my dad always says, you two are my biggest investment. And I'm for sure money. But everything that those two went through can be summed up by a quote by the great Michael Dewey. And that's that excuses are the nails that built the house of failure. Thank you.
Our principal, Mrs. Weiborny, told us that this speech is our time and that we as valedictorians earned it because of our hard work. And while that's completely true, I feel like this is not the moment for me to brag about my perfect grades in front of thousands of people. Even though I do admit that sounded pretty good to me at first. This is actually the time where I brag about the amazing high school experience that hundreds of diligent people from John R. Rogers devoted to me and 300 other lucky graduates. Throughout the years, I've been constantly reminded by them that persistence is the key to success, the key to earning that 5 on advanced placement test, the key to making the varsity team in sports, and ultimately the key to learning itself. I owe a huge shout out to Mr. Dewey and Mr. Harrison for making this notion very, very clear. We all have inherently different interests, different lifestyles, and different personalities, different viewpoints, and different lifestyles. Yet our unique personality is only then unique when we make it known to others through solid determination. And while this may sound a bit cliche, I hope that all of us today, especially the graduates, will fulfill their dreams no matter what challenge stands in their way. Good luck, and God bless y'all.
A while ago, I heard a quote, and it goes something like this. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. It's short and simple, but it packs a punch of truth. And the truth is, if you don't do it now, you will wish you'd done it sooner. The 4 years of high school came and went quicker than expected, and we needed to be ready to take on whatever challenges came along. We all found different ways to navigate through high school. Those of us who got lucky graduate high school without a caffeine addiction and sleep deprivation. The little things like quotes, Bible verses, and bits and pieces of advice are what kept me going and motivated me to keep trying to excel at everything I did. I got to where I am today because of the things I chose to value and care about. Over these past few years, I've observed that at the end of the day, we are in control of what we learn from our experiences, and if we dedicate ourselves, we will reap the benefits. Of course, it's not as easy as it sounds. Some days, sleeping in sounded so much better than getting out of bed and getting ready for school. But then I'd have to remind myself that it would pay off. Because when I thought about the long-term benefits, instead of the immediate satisfaction, I found myself making the choice to put in the work, even if at the moment it didn't feel rewarding. I didn't know what to expect in the long run, but I knew that hard work and dedication were the right path. The unknown of what the future held and what possibilities lay ahead kept me motivated, but of course, I couldn't do it all on my own. First off, I like to thank God for giving me the strength and wisdom. I like to thank all my family, friends, and teachers who supported me along the way. I'd especially like to thank my parents for putting up with me through the good days and not so good. Thank you, Dad, for your sense of humor, because we all know that laughter is the best kind of medicine. And thank you, Mom, for teaching me how to be loving and kind. And lastly, I'm thankful for these past 4 years, because I think we all learned a lot about life and who we are as individuals. Most importantly, we learned that we can never get time back. Therefore, we should make the most of every moment, because when we look back, we'll thank ourselves.
First, I would like to thank my mom and stepdad. You've taught me so much and are always by my side. The gas money has been greatly appreciated. To my stepdad, although you came into my life later, you have made more of a difference than any biological father could. You are my true dad. My grandparents, for all of your advice and support. I'd be lost without you. I would like to thank Amy, Dr. Flumo, and Mr. Venema for making a difference in my life one way or another. Finally, I thank all of you sitting behind me for helping me pave my way. I had an incredibly rough last 4 years. Whether it was losing loved ones, coping with bullying, or finding myself, I am happy to say I made it. Whether you knocked me down or pulled me up, you all made me stronger and more confident in who I am. I made the decision to reach for the stars this year. I applied to Ivy League schools, I took 5 advanced placement classes, I joined DECA, served as Key Club Lieutenant Governor, and fit in part-time jobs in between. All these created large challenges. Without the strength I've gained over the last few years, I wouldn't be able to say I made it to state and nationals my first year in DECA with no business marketing experience. I was interviewed by the 5 Ivy League schools I applied to and under serious consideration when some said I had no chance, but I knew I could beat the odds. I made it through my rigorous year, and I plan to continue on this path of following my dreams and taking chances. Do not be afraid, take the chance. I hope you all find it in yourselves to strive for better.
Well, as the great Ricky Bobby's father once said, if you ain't first, you're last. Good evening, friends, family, faculty, and class of 2017. We made it. To give you an idea of what all the graduates have been doing in their last month of high school, we've spent the last 4 weeks finishing final projects, being at school as little as possible, making multiple Dutch Bros trips a day, deleting pictures of homework off of our phones, and watching more Disney movies than we did when we were children. Over the course of the year, we have said, I'm gonna drop out at least 180 times, and we could count on anyone within earshot to reply with same, in which we would then continue to finish everything we had been given and proceed to complain with no follow-through as usual. We've gone to see Miss Pemberton 1,000 times, as well as Miss Law and Miss O'Halloran, to check up on our transcripts, scholarships, and college applications. Bugged our teachers about due dates, proceeded to ask for extended due dates, and then did the work the night before the extended date. Most of all, we have spent this last month of high school praying for graduation to come sooner and fearing what happens after it did. Today is that day. But before we walk out of here with our diplomas in hand, we need to acknowledge the community of people who have pushed us through this last month in order to get us up on this stage. To the teachers who have gotten to school early to make us breakfast before our advanced placement exams, their food is probably the only reason we showed up on time. The coaches who have made it worth it to come to school just so you could practice or compete. The lunch bunch who blast music every day to lighten our fried brains. Our friends who come to school every day so that we don't have to suffer alone. And our parents and guardians who come in to wake us up after we hit snooze on our alarms at least 8 times. And most importantly, the entire community here at Rogers that has continued to push every single one of us to become another class to graduate and prove to the world that there is absolutely no other school that has the same heart and drive as we do. There is no other community that has the same strength as ours. John R. Rogers has shown me what it truly means to be part of something bigger than myself. I now understand the unique pride that there is in being a pirate, and I will never forget where I came from.
Good afternoon. I'm Lori Wyborny, principal at John R. Rogers High School. Sitting with me in the front row is Gear Up teacher Michelle Brooks, college and career specialist Nancy Pemberton, class of 2017 counselor Jen O'Halloran, superintendent of Spokane Public Schools Dr. Shelley Redinger, Spokane Public Schools School Board member Sue Chapin, Spokane Public Schools Board member Michael Weisner, Assistant Principal Marty Robinette, Assistant Principal Brett Hale, Assistant Principal Joe Phipps, and Class of 2017 Gear Up Coordinator Kipton Salmonson. I knew there would be one.
Welcome families, friends, staff, and students. Let's hear it for the class of 2017. It is an honor and a privilege to serve as your school superintendent. Students, my hope and our goal is that we have prepared you all well for your futures. Whether you're going to technical school, military, 2- or 4-year colleges or universities, or right to the workforce. In addition, compassion and empathy for others. Know that we are all rooting for you and look forward to the contributions you will make to our community and to our society. And remember, believing something is possible is to make it possible and come true. Graduates, go forth as mighty pirates and make your dreams come true. Congratulations, class of 2017.
Hi there. Today is a great day to be a pirate. Congratulations to all the pirates and your family and friends who love and support you as we gather to celebrate this wonderful accomplishment. It wasn't so long ago that the number of students on this stage was about half the size that it is today. But because of the dedication of everyone here, we are now packing the house. Good job. I always look forward to Rogers' graduation because Rogers has a very special place in our school district and in Spokane, and I'm going to tell you a few reasons why. First, it's the students and your families, your dedication and determination, your school pride, and willingness and ability to succeed that are well known across the city and the state. Second, it's the Rogers Alumni Group, the largest and most active alumni association in Spokane. Next, it's every member of the staff who are committed to the success of each Rogers student. Just like every year, the lunch ladies and gentlemen are in the front row cheering you on. And it's the Rogers principal, Lori Wyborny, my absolute all-time favorite principal. You know it's true. We can say it today. Yeah, we can say it today. To know her is to love her because we respect how much this school means to her. But finally, it's the Rogers Walk of Fame. No other school in our district has anything like it. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Every time I come to Rogers, I take time to walk down that hall to see the photos. I am in awe of all the great things that Rogers graduates have done. You'll be amazed at the accomplishments you'll see there. It's really quite inspiring to look at the photos, read the names, and learn about the contributions that the graduates of John R. Rogers High School have made to our community, to the state, to our country, and even beyond. So seniors, As each of you take your turn to cross the stage to receive your diploma, I hope you will think of this short walk as not the end to your high school years, but as the first steps of your journey to add your name and photo to the John R. Rogers Walk of Fame. This room is full of champions who will do great things to earn your place on the wall. It's your turn to be the ones to inspire future generations of Rogers Pirates. So on behalf of the Board of Directors of Spokane Public Schools, I congratulate the class of 2017 of John R. Rogers High School. Together with Director Weiser, it will be our honor and privilege to present you with your high school diplomas.
Before I get started, I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Ron Crenshaw and the Steel Drum Band. They make our graduation so incredibly special. All right, I promise I'm the last speaker. For about the last 100 plus years, demographers have been labeling different birth cohorts as a generation of people who were born, grew up, and had kids all their own at about the same time, therefore sharing a mostly similar experience. The first labeled generation was the lost generation, with birth years between 1880 and 1900. This generation is known for having a high number of immigrants who then had to fight against their home countries in the First World War. The greatest generation followed with birth years 1901 to 1924. That generation fought in World War II and have been named the greatest generation for winning that war and then being the most productive generation due to incredible economic development in the post-war world. Next is the silent generation with birth years 1925 to 1942. They fought in the Korean War and the Vietnam War, in which the defined parameters of those wars were not as clear as the previous war. The baby boomers roared in with birth years 1946 to 1962. This generation is also sometimes called the me generation, because they were raised by one or the other of the previous two generations who worked really hard to make sure their kids had a better life. Birth years 1963 to 1983 is referred to as Generation X. This generation is marked by being raised by the me generation that saw both parents working, and oftentimes they are called latchkey kids because they were the first to see a lot of daycare. The millennials are next with birth years 1984 to 1998. This is the only generation larger than the baby boomers at 77 million. They were the first to grow up with computers. And now, seated behind me is the next generation, Generation Z. Also called, and this will make perfect sense, information generation, right? Their birth years have not totally been defined, but generally started in 1998. This is a fascinating generation. They have grown up with 9/11, an economic recession, the first African American president, and the most advanced and fastest growing technology the world has ever seen. Researchers say this generation will be the most educated in American history, with 81% believing that obtaining a college degree is important. Further research has indicated that this generation will be more concerned with humanity's impact on the environment, lowering student loan debt, and will be more diverse than any other generation before them. Right? The John R. Rogers class of 2017 epitomizes the characteristics of Generation Z. They are conscientious of their world, concerned about student debt, but yet understand the need for further education and represent more diversity than ever before. I'm going to talk about 6 of the students from this class, not because they're the only extraordinary ones, but because each one of them represent what is ordinary about so many students at John R. Rogers. Aisha Farrell. Aisha has lived in Spokane her whole life, even though she connects herself to the Standing Rock Sioux of North Dakota. She did not come to Rogers until her junior year, leaving a school to the north. At Rogers, she felt like she belonged to a community and was able to connect with her native culture, which is very important to her. The Sioux side of her heritage comes from her father, whom has not been a part of her life for the last 12 years. She is just now working on rebuilding a relationship with him. Luckily, her summers have been spent in North Dakota at her paternal grandparents' home, where she was able to participate in tribal ceremonies and develop her strong ties to the Sioux. This last fall, Aisha took a stand with her people at Standing Rock, and she worked to educate her classmates and her community about the many complicated political pieces of that issue. While not everyone might agree with her position, no one could argue with her passion and her incredibly articulate way she made her points. Her passion for her people was a beautiful thing to watch. Teenagers that make that kind of stand will continue to lead in adulthood. Aisha plans on working for her people and will attend Eastern Washington University next year and plans to study epistemology and psychology. She would like to be a therapist for people suffering from genetic historical trauma and also someday will run for tribal council. Nicole Gowan. Like Aisha, Nicole moved to John R. at the start of her junior year from a place called Searchlight, Nevada. If it isn't Vegas, who knows it, right? She came to Spokane to live with her dad because this high school offered many more opportunities than her previous high school. In particular, Nicole could not participate in sports in Nevada because it involved a 1-hour bus ride to get home after sports. Here, she would be able to participate without that burden. Most days, I stand at the front door greeting students as they come in. It took me a full year to get her to even say hello to me. It's crazy. So you can imagine my surprise when Nicole emerged as a leader this year. She joined Link Crew as a mentor for our younger students and a captain for our track team. We have a student who spends part of her day in a wheelchair due to cerebral palsy. This student wanted to turn out for track and field. Nicole took it upon herself to be this kid's advocate. Nicole spent most of February convincing the student to turn out for track, and then throughout the season, encouraged the student, ran alongside the student, and was her biggest supporter. I am always blown away by how awesome our students are, but Nicole really blew me away when this shy Nevada transplant emerged into such a positive, outstanding leader here at John R. Next year, Nicole will attend Evergreen State College in Olympia to study environmental science, which she learned to love in Mr. Christian's class. Shelton and Shelmar Teasley. At first, I did not know these two were twins. I just thought this kid was everywhere. And I finally saw them together and I went, oh, there's two of you, I get it now. Yeah, pretty silly, huh? Shelton and Shelmar were born in Tacoma, but moved to Spokane at age 3 when their parents broke up. However, their dad could not stay away and he quickly followed them to Spokane. Unfortunately, Dad struggled to avoid legal issues and spent time in jail. The twins hated it when Dad was away, but enjoyed the time they had with him. When the boys were in the 7th grade while their dad was in jail, he had a heart attack and died. Both boys were devastated. That could have been a moment that could have sunk Shelton or Shelmar or both, but it did not. These adorable young men vowed to build a different life for each other. While I'm sure there has been a knockdown, drag-out fight or two between these brothers, these two have also been each other's biggest cheerleader and support, pushing each other to succeed. Shelton and Shelmar have also greatly benefited from grandparents close by who came to every game, meet, and event so that they knew they were loved even if their dad was not around. I was surprised to hear that they were not going to college together, but at least they're pretty close to each other. Next year, Shelmar will attend the University of Washington and study pre-med, and Shelton will attend Central Washington University and study biochemistry and genetics. Olivia Lynch. If Olivia could have got $1 for every time she was in trouble here at school in the 9th and 10th grade year, she would have paid her college tuition in full. I'm not lying. In her words, she was angry and mad at the world. This young lady has never been afraid to tell you how she feels, which in most cases was really, really mad. Things got so bad that there were days in which Olivia considered drastic ways of avoiding reality. At one point, she hit rock bottom. Olivia herself credits Mrs. Grow and Mrs. Kilgore for supporting her and Mrs. Kagan for getting her into counseling. In counseling, Olivia learned coping skills like walking away or deciding if it was worth the fight or not. In her last 2 years, Olivia has managed to stay away from the student office by using those coping skills. She has also gotten involved in our Pro Start Culinary Arts program, which is a competition cooking program where students compete locally, regionally, and nationally. Watching Olivia prepare for competition this year, we saw her leadership come out, especially as the team had to solve issues and work together. It's so impressive when you can see a student change from being in trouble to being so engaged in school. We are so proud of Olivia and know that her future looks bright. Next year, she will go to cosmetology school, then plans to also study business so that someday she can open her own salon. And lastly, Gloria Trevino. Gloria has always lived with her mother and really does not know her dad. For many years, Gloria and her mother struggled with domestic violence that led to several assaults. These assaults were numerous and devastating to Gloria and left her feeling hopeless and not human. This led to depression. Her depression went unchecked and put her in some very dark places, so dark that Gloria spent time in the hospital, stayed a little while, and left still unsure if she was ready to deal with life. Here at school, she got connected with Miss Sills, a counselor who convinced Gloria that she still needed help for her depression. So Gloria checked herself back into the hospital and this time stayed for 4 weeks. When she walked out of the hospital, she felt different, better, and more prepared to deal with her depression. Mrs. Sills continued to work with Gloria, and finally, Gloria is beginning to believe that those assaults were not her fault and that she could move on with her life. Now, Gloria will use her experience to help other kids. She will attend Spokane Falls Community College and then transfer to Eastern Washington University to study psychology and sociology. And when that is completed, she will counsel kids in the juvenile court system and kids in hospital psych units. While I love to give our students advice, I could never give better advice than that of your own classmates. Like Aisha, know where you come from and stand for who you are. Be a leader and speak for those who can't speak for themselves, like Nicole. And like Shelton, Shelmar, Olivia, and Gloria, don't let your past determine your future. Chart your own course with confidence. These students sitting behind me are truly amazing and beautiful young people who will be something great. It is now my privilege to certify that each member of the class of 2017 receiving a diploma has met all the requirements of the state of Washington and all other requirements established by the local board of directors and is therefore eligible to be graduated from John R. Rogers High School in Spokane Public Schools.
Mackenzie Kammer. Lily Makarov. Malik Donlik. Kendra Crossley. Svetlana Yuriev. Michael Harp.
Cheyenne Gillespie. Konstantin Makraznov. Simon Mai. Melissa Gray. Kaylana Miller. Hunter Alland. Devin Acord. Donovan Adams. Amanda Ahern. Jeline Alfred. Gabriella Allen. Dominance Allen. Enrique Altamirano. Aus Alwatar. Connor Anderson. Sienna Anderson.
Spirit Ash. Micaiah Autry. Colin Axtell. Charles Bauer IV. Hunter Beckham. Elijah Belcourt. Janice Bell. Jade Benson Rush. Adam Bertram. Christopher Beam. Emil Bima. Jade Boycer. Kyle Bonser. Jacob Bordwell. Emily Boren. Mercedes Brand.
Amy Brayman. Mackenzie Broadsword. April Brown. Taven Bruss. Dylan Buck. Maximilian Budano. Andrew Burnham. Gabriel Burnham. Michelle Buster. Levi Butler Christie. Pacifique Bajiranjiro. Elizabeth Burns. Maricela Canales. Isaiah Karsten Hill. Matthew Cavaliershack.
Angela Champagne. Amy Chen. Cece Chen. Lisa Chang. Marija Christian. Madison Christensen. Rachel Christensen. Beth Cleary. Natasha Collins. Jennifer Contreras. Zachary Cooper. Derek Craver. Annalise Creason. Chrisandra Croson. Dylan Crump. Jacob Curran.
Harley Davis. Ryan Daw. Peyton Diffie. Nathaniel Dishnu. Natalia Dragomir. Brianna Duran. Ashlyn Edwards. Hayden Eichels. John Eisenman. Taylor Elmore. Aisha Farrell. Austin Fawcett. Luis Ferreira. Ryan Fishburne. Chase Fisher. Robert Fitzgerald.
Darian Fitzhugh. Andrea Fletcher. Aspen Fontaine. Tatum Ford. Zachary Fortensky. Dennis Foster. Griffin Foster. Kelsey Freeland. Shelby Gagne. Alyssa Galeana. Stephanie Garrett. Jessica Jeanette. Destiny Giancola. Jacob Gilbert. Mary Gonzalez. Nicole Gowan.
Bryce Green. Taylor Green. Jaden Gridley. Pavel Grishko. Joseph Guerrero. Lacey Haas. Kaylee Hansen. Rose Heine. Kent Helmer. Amber Hempel. Jade Hendrickson. Brandon Henning. Zoe Henning. Mahalia Hustis.
Chaz Holland. Madison Holling. Caleb Holm. Emily Holmes. Cheyenne Holt. Jacob Hoover. Austin Jenin. Rebecca Jepson. Ariel Jeter. Chastity Jete. Cassandra Johnson. Sean Johnson. Cameron Jones. Cheyenne Jones. Hanser Juviel Sanchez. Amra Kvejic.
Mandela Kalu. Chrismilla Carbon. Alice Keju. Devin Kimmerly. Brooke Klein. Paulina Kobani. Trey Krogstad. Cheyenne Kyle. Shayla Lafoon. Trevor Lang. Elizabeth Langdrick. Sierra Lane. Ryan LeBray. McKenna Lemaster. Mason Leppert.
Zachary Light. Miles Liverman. Jeremy Lockridge. Alonzo Lopez. Alyssa Ludeman. Arthur Liebuck. Olivia Lynch. Sierra Lyons. Janessa Mahanalat. Winner Majimento. Colton Mallory. Austin Marker. Catherine Martin. Gabriela Martinez. Jeremiah Martinez. Olivia Marks.
Anakin Matthews. Miles McCatherine. Mason McGraw. Andrew McIntosh. Eric McKay. Alexis McMahon. Samantha Meese. Lindsay Meserve. Ramon Mincitar. Christopher Mines Trent. Nash Mitchell. Arjang Mobasher. Hayden Moen. Stephen Moran. Dominique Morgan. Moselle Morris.
Jason Moi. Melia Moi. Brianna Munya. Jonathan Murray. Brian Nahara. Tanner Nelson. Jonas Nagentabarujo. An Nguyen. True Nguyen. Paige Nichols. Jasmine Novak. Paige Nolan. Yasmin Olguin Cervantes. Autumn Paddock.
Bryson Parker. Joshua Payton. Cassidy Peterson. Cameron Pennick Littell. Tammy Pham. Jatea Phelps. Cheyenne Phillips. Sean Plum. Casey Pruitt. Rachel Puckett. Cherie Ramelow. Annalicia Randall. Madison Randazzo. Stephanie Roberts. Marcus Robinson. Kane Rodriguez.
Skylar Rua. Dorima Sam. Austin Sams Claire. Ariana Sanchez. Jennifer Sanchez. Johnny Sandoval. Ben Saxton. Shyla Shrikaroth. Colin Scott. Mark Charbonneau. Nathaniel Shaw. Sierra Shoulders. Jax Scholl. Kendra Seekerman, Vaughn Signor,
Kessa Silvers, Hannah Simmons, Tajay Singleton, Brittany Smith, Jevin Spurgeon, Samantha Stanley, Ethan Stanton, Kyle Stewart, Shaden Stoker, Rebecca Storley, Jordan Sweeney, Shelmar Teasley, Shelton Teasley,
Namisha Tapa, Rufus Thomas, Jacob Thompson, Nathaniel Thompson, Calvin Tilbury, Kelsey Joanne Marie Tillett, Sierra Tony, Dennis Tran, Tuan Tran, Gloria Trevino, Haley Turney, Wayno, Atijah Upton, Devin Van Grimbergen, Nico Vargas, Alana Verbiest,
Austin Vick, Brandon Veers, Bora Vita, Dorothea Wacker, Emily Wagner, Charlie Wayman, Casey Westcott, Heather Whipple, Brian Wickie, Kyle Widener, Jasmine Williams, Caitlin Williams, Garrett Wilkett, Audra Wold, Morgan Worley, Kaylee Wright,
Travis Young, Denise Zarate Flores, Ladies and gentlemen, this is the class of 2017.